Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
To listen without ads, head over to patreon.com/rightandwrong.
Ooh, a spicy question. I
because
love
the
it.
writing is sort of everything, right? Like you kind of can fix plot holes, but if the writing isn't
So some
there,
readers love that, and some readers are like, "But I wanted more of this." So it's kind of a gamble.
Hello and welcome back to the Right and Wrong podcast. With me on this episode is author and comedy writer Emily Jane Clark. Hello, Emily. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. Let's start with the headlines. Latest children's book came out in January, the second of the Beasts of Knobbly Bottom series, Rise of the Zombie Pigs. That's a sentence I never thought I would say. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's set in Knobbly Bottom, which isn't a bum with knobbly bits on it. That would be a bit of that would be a different kind of book, I think. But it's actually a village called Knobbly Bottom, and a girl called Maggie moves there in the first book, actually, with her mum and her sister, and she thinks it's the most boring village in the world. There's like nothing there, and she's moved from a big city, so it's even more boring. There's just sort of loads of grass and things made of green and farm animals and things like that. But anyway, she soon discovers that it's not as boring as it first seemed. Some weird things start happening. She meets some strange characters, including someone called Gary the Great and Evil Child Eater. So it's getting pretty scary, although I have to say he is a vegan, so we're okay. But the worst of all, she comes across some, in the first book, she comes across the vampire sheep. She just thinks she's managed to get them out of the way when the pigs start acting weird. So in the second book, the pigs turn into zombies and all hell breaks loose again, because they literally, whereas the vampire sheep, they were pretty bad. They wanted to take over the world, classic baddie style. The zombie pigs, they just want to eat it. They want to eat the actual whole world and everything in it. They're just unstoppable eating machines. So she has to, in the latest book, Maggie and her friends, her friend Fred next door, they have to, try and put a stop to all that and not get eaten. So that's it in a kind of nutshell.
in a sort of insane, whimsical nutshell.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. I assume most people listening might have devised that it is a children's book.
Oh yes, I should have probably mentioned that, especially because, exciting, today it was announced it's on the shortlist for the Waterstones Children's Book Prize. So I was looking for a way to slip that in, Jamie.
There you go, seamless.
To be fair, they've made me keep it a secret for 3 months. So now I'm just walking around. I told the postman this morning, anyone who will listen, it's coming out now. So
well, that's amazing.
Thank
what an
you.
achievement. What's the kind of age bracket that this is marketed towards?
It's sort of younger readers, so I'd say it's suitable probably for like 7+. So for younger kids, it's nice. It's a nice one for parents to read to them. So I sneaked in a few jokes there, sort of for parents, because I've got 2 children, and they always, I always read to them at night, but they're always like one more page, one more chapter. So I really wanted to write a book that parents would hopefully enjoy as well. That was my favourite thing. If I could read them a book I liked, everyone's a winner. So
yeah.
So that's so I'd say but I've had anything up 7 to 11 really are reading them or being read to. So
yeah, there's definitely something. And there's a real skill to it. I remember a lot of the older Disney stuff, even some of the new stuff. They're like movies, and they always have the jokes in there, which are for the adults. alongside the ones for the kids.
Yeah, well, it's quite nice, isn't it? And also another thing, reading to children, if there's opportunities to do funny voices, like, with big funny characters, that can make it more fun to read out loud as well. So I used to love reading anything that had character, like I loved reading my children the Mr. Gunn books because they had lots of funny voices. And it's like, finally, my drama degree got a bit of use when I had children's bedtimes. So so it's all good.
Okay. So as you mentioned, this is book number 2 of the Beasts of the Knobbly Bottom. You also have a book called Sleepers for the Week. Which is non-fiction. And it's a sort of humorous how-to kind of book?
Yeah. It's quite... I wrote it after, during the dark days of sleep deprivation, can't even say it now, when I had 2 children that didn't ever sleep when they were babies and toddlers. So, so I kind of wrote a survival guide for parents on how to survive on no sleep called Sleepers for the Week. Quite a while back, but it had a bit of swearing in it, you see. So I promised my children I would write something without swearing in it, especially after I caught one trying to take it into show and tell once. I was like, no, bring it back. I can't have the teachers thinking you've got a potty mouth mother. But, sleep deprivation, in my defense, does make you quite sweary. So,
Okay, yeah, I get that. And I've also seen some of your other work, particularly the sketch that you wrote that's kind of went quite viral, performed by Eddie Taylor. Women tell everyone to F off.
Yeah, I was in a bit of a bad mood when I wrote that. Didn't expect it to go. Yeah, I think it was just one of those things that many women will probably relate to, where you just feel like you can't get anything right according to everyone else. So I kind of wrote it in a bit of a temper, and then next thing I know, it's Madonna's sharing it and things like that. I was like, wow, I should be in a bad mood more often. But Ellie Taylor was brilliant. She really kind of made it her own. She was fantastic. So
it was a great sketch.
Thank you.
Obviously, the Sleepers for the Week came presumably quite a while before you started the Knobbly Bottom series.
Yeah, it's quite a big gap in between.
Do you? And I know that you still do like comedy and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you? Is it quite a specific headspace that you need to like put yourself in when you're moving between writing those kind of younger children's books and the sort of more sweary adult stuff?
Yes, I do. I do have to remind myself I can't swear, or even slightly swear. You can't even get away with sort of crap or anything like that.
Okay.
But I think actually going from when I've been right in the thick of working on the children's books, and then I have to write something for grown-ups, that's almost more difficult, because I write in the voice of the main character, who's like a young girl. I find myself even replying to like work emails sounding like a 9-year-old child. I'm like, oh my God, that is super cool. I'm like, oh God, this is like, trying to sound all grown up. So actually, you have to get in a specific, I have to get myself out of the zone of writing like a child almost. So
it's, you find it harder going that way around, not the other way around.
Yeah, I think maybe whether it's also to do with, because obviously when you're working on a book, it's so intensely just that for hours and hours a day, so you're sort of living it, whereas if I'm doing pieces of work for various places, it's not, you're not living it for months and months, really. So it's probably that, just the intensity of working on a book, because even once you finish it, you get it back so many times for like the edits, and then you've got to read it again for the you've got to check it for proofs and check the like all the illustrations, so you've seen it so much, by the time it comes out, you almost you just get caught up in that world.
Yeah, that makes sense, because the sort of the other stuff that you write across the different mediums, you do like sort of television scripts, sketches, features, articles, that kind of stuff. So I guess with those, like you say, you're kind of doing that for a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's done.
So you can then just slip back out of it and get back into children's back into bum jokes. So
do you ever use as a sort of replacement for more adult language and swear words, do you ever do like they do it in fantasy novels a lot, where they are swearing, but it's like the in-world fantasy swear word, so to us it's not rude? Do you ever do that in the children's books?
I but you can't, they're quite strict on it if they even have a sniff that it might be a replacement swear word, because I think the mum once said fudge cake instead of something else that sounds quite similar to that. And I wasn't going to get away with that, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. But I even like the main character, she says heckady doodah a lot, which obviously that is quite tame, isn't it? But they even had a meeting about what, just to check that there wasn't, that was allowed. It had to get the go ahead. So yeah, you have to be quite careful. You can't get away with a lot. I didn't realize I used the word stupid so much. I put stupid so many times, and I had to go over and think of a different word to replace it with. So when you're writing for young children, you get used to it as you go along. But the good thing is, I think it's made me swear less because I'm in that mindset. I tend to just say fudge cake or heckady doodah now.
Are you allowed to use a sort of, if you do have a replacement for any word, like if you said something like bobbles or something, and if you repeated it lots of times, would that be flagged as an issue because it's clearly a replacement?
Probably, yeah. You have to be sneaky about these things to get them through, I think.
So you have to kind of, let's say you're replacing all the times you've written stupid. Do you have to replace them with different words? I
did actually in this case, but also because I think stupid is quite a broad one. I was getting away with quite a lot, but when I had to narrow it down, there wasn't quite a word that would cover everything I needed it for. So I just came up with lots of different ones, I think, for that.
I guess, I guess the theory is there that you're not kind of teaching children to fixate on one word, which means a bad thing. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, that's true. I have to point out, she wasn't calling people stupid in the book.
Right.
It's more like this stupid village and things like that. So, but
call things
exactly
stupid, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's get back onto, we mentioned you do write lots of different things, features, adult, children's, sketches, all that stuff. Kind of like I was going to ask a similar question to do with adults versus children writing. When you're writing for those different disciplines, is it sort of another headspace if you're writing like a feature versus when you sit down to write children's book?
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, it's all tends to be comedy I do, and so actually there's similar ways of setting up the jokes and things like that. They would all kind of translate for each medium. So it's more. I definitely use the same techniques. Like when I'm writing for children, I use this technique like I'll say, what if this happened, and get sillier and sillier. Like, what if these sheep turned into vampires, but then they were gangsters? And actually, I use that when I'm writing for adults as well. So, so actually, even though I think adults, unfortunately, don't find bum jokes as funny as children, you can use sort of similar way. It's a similar way of working, I think, for both.
Oh, okay, that's really interesting. So it's more like you're using similar structures, but you're dressing it in a kind of different way.
Yeah, exactly that. So I'm using the same techniques to come up with funny ideas, but just more X-rated for the adults.
So going back a bit, where and when kind of did all of your kind of writing adventures begin?
Well, I used to be a journalist before I had kids. then I went into features. Then I had my children, and as I mentioned, they wouldn't sleep, so I was so tired. So I'd originally I was freelancing at that point, and I told clients I was writing for, I was just I'm 6 months and then I'll be back to work, no problem. So how hard can a baby be? 6 months in, I was still in my pajamas. So I had to ring them and say, "Oh, sorry, I think it might be another." Actually, it wasn't 6 months; it was 6 weeks. That was it. 6 weeks. I didn't know anyone with kids at this point. I was the first person out of out of everyone I knew. So yeah, I was so stupid. Yeah. Then 6 months came around, and I was still in my pajamas, and then I got pregnant with my second daughter very soon after the first one. So I ended up just having to, and then I got quite ill with postnatal depression. So, and sleep deprivation probably as well. So I kind of ended up being forced to take a bit of time out, and it was sort of a really tricky time. We were really, really skint, obviously, because I wasn't working. I was tired. I felt horrendous. And I think I was like, oh God, that's it now. I'm just probably never going to work again. I'm going to have to just, just get whatever job I can take. I didn't think the writing career would sort of take off again. But when the kids got a little bit older, I just started writing stuff for myself at home about how being a mum and about my evil children. And that ended up leading to a publisher asking if I could write a book about it. So weirdly, from that sort of really tricky place came something good. And then I started writing for places like Metro UK, just doing sort of columns for them about various things. And then I started working for the Daily Mash. It was all off the back of writing a funny book. I think you get asked to do work that's sort of along those lines. Yeah, and then sort of evolved and got the TV stuff. So it was all like a domino effect, I think. So so it's quite, and then obviously did the children's books as well. So it was definitely it wasn't the path I intended to take. I always wanted to write comedy, but once you're sort of in that career, I was sort of writing features for magazines and stuff. Yeah, you sort of carry on doing that, don't you? Don't sort of branch out. So so it's a different path to what I would have expected to take, but I'm glad I did, really. So
yeah, it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, in a weird way. I wouldn't have predicted it.
So a publisher asked you to write Sleepers for the Week. How did you kind of get in contact with the publisher? How did that conversation begin?
I managed to get an agent first, actually. So yeah, okay. So I got an agent, and then she did the usual sending out, and got a publisher that way. So
was that off like a pitch for something similar to Sleepers for the Week?
Yeah, because I had it I'd been writing a blog. I don't think people do that anymore, but I've been writing a blog on WordPress about it, and a couple of those articles had sort of gone viral. Back in the day, it would have been on Facebook. So, and I think around that time, not a lot of people had been writing about kind of the tricky aspects of motherhood either. So yeah, there wasn't a lot like it, I think. So it was quite a good time to get something out there, I think.
Okay. And did agents contact you through the blog, or did you actively look for agents with a submission?
I think it was a bit of both. So okay. So that obviously it helped that I had the blog and I had the following, to point them in the direction of that. So it definitely was a combination.
But after having 2 children and them growing up a little bit, you decided you wanted to write something that they could read, that you could kind of share with them.
Yeah, I thought that because I spent so long reading bedtime stories, as I said, I just thought it would be nice to have something to. Obviously, the process is so long. Like my eldest is 12 now, and the book's for younger children. And I was like, oh God. So now she's like, well, why can't you write something for my age? I was like, well, I did, but you stupid grew up. So yeah.
Okay. What are you kind of thinking about writing now, are you going to keep writing for sort of their age, knowing that they'll probably have outgrown it by the time it comes out?
Yeah, it'd be all right for their children. My grandchildren will enjoy these books. Well, I hope to write some more Knobbly Bottoms. I think I'm really enjoying actually writing for children. I'd like to write some of those, and I've got a few more ideas for other children's books, maybe for slightly older children. So yeah, but I also love the adult stuff as well. So I'm not sure what the future holds, but I think it's okay to want to do a bit of everything. And to, I think these days are quite lucky. You don't just get pigeonholed. You can write a variation of stuff. Get away
absolutely.
with it.
Absolutely. Would you do any more adult sort of in the vein of Sleepers for the Week? Do you have any ideas or plans to do anything more kind of like that? I
haven't. I wouldn't mind, sort of doing maybe an updated sort of version of Sleepers for the Week, which is which actually I've my agent's got at the moment. So we've sort of updated it, added a few more because it's quite a while ago it was out. I think it was 2017 now. So so I have done an updated version. I've got loads of new material in there and things like that. So so we're looking to do something with that, hopefully. But I'd like to, and I'm writing a play as well. I love script writing. So yeah.
Lots of fingers in many pies.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? You just have to keep things. It's so slow, like in the industry, isn't it? You can send some things off, and then you could be waiting to hear for ages. So you might as well just get on with the next thing. Hopefully,
exactly. And a lot of those things, like you talk about writing a play or writing a script for television or film, and at a certain point, even if that gets picked up and it does go into the kind of whatever the machine is, you're kind of done at a certain point there,
Oh God, yeah. And then you don't hear anything. You hand it all in, and then it's obviously everything's happening at their end, but you're sort of you're not really needed for a while. So but then because it is so unpredictable, you do have to keep plugging away and coming up with different ideas, because you could get to a point where you have nothing coming in. For a while. I suppose it's a lot of actors can normally relate to this, actually, that period you think, oh, this is it now, there won't be anything, there won't be another part after this, there won't be another book after this, so you just keep on going, don't you, and hope for the best.
I definitely noticed when we kind of came out of the kind of global lockdowns and stuff, there was a series of movies with actors that I would have thought were very high profile doing sort of like Hallmark style movies. And I was like, wow, you must have been worried.
Exactly. No, that's true. Actually, it was around lockdown. That must be why. They're just like, I'll just take anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it was fun.
I can see.
I saw on your website that outside of writing all these different mediums for all these different people and places and things like that, you have done some mentoring. Are you still partnering with Jericho Writers?
Yeah, I love Jericho Writers. They're really good. It's really fun as well, because you just get to be really nosy and read other people's work. So I do mentoring for them. So basically, if someone's writing a book, they'll go to Jericho and say, have you got anyone that could be suitable to help me with this genre? And then they'll ask me whether I'm interested, send me a little extract, and then and through Jericho, I'll take them on if I think I can sort of help them. So it's really fun.
Okay, I've always found, even in a more minor capacity than that, just doing things like giving feedback and critiquing other people's work, I think there's a sort of eye-opening self-reflection in that.
Oh God, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think I've learned a lot from the people I'm mentoring as well, really. So
if there's a mistake that you have been making, it's hard to see it in your own writing. But if you see it in someone else's writing and then go back to yours and you think, oh, wow, I did the thing that I just told them was bad.
Exactly. I think it's the same as, like generally we can give sort of a friend some really good advice about certain situations. But when you're in that situation, you don't do the thing you've just advised someone to do,
Yeah.
But it's like you see it from a different point of view, don't you? So it is, really useful for that, actually.
Yeah, it's the do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, precisely.
And that brings us to what is the same question that we round up all of these episodes with, and that is, Emily, if you were stranded on a desert island with a single book, which book do you hope that it would be?
Well, that's quite an easy one. It would have to be. It would have to be a kind of how to survive on a desert island manual, really, wouldn't it? Because I would not have a clue otherwise. So, yeah. So, maybe some Bear Grylls kind of thing. Something to help me.
Maybe that could be your next adult book. Follow up for Sleepers for the Week.
Yeah.
How to survive on a desert island.
Yeah, if I try and get a publisher to send me off to one so I can, give real life experience, then that might help.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, very practical, very pragmatic, exactly. A smart choice. Can't argue with that.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the end of the regular episode and into the new extended cut section exclusive to Patreon subscribers. So anyone listening who hasn't yet joined the Patreon, please do think about doing it. It goes a long way towards covering the costs of running this podcast. Amazing. Well, that's awesome. It's been really, really fun chatting with you, Emily, and learning all about your writing and the books and everything that's going on with you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been really fun, Jamie.
And for anyone wanting to keep up with what Emily is doing, you can follow her on Twitter at Emily Jane Clark, on Instagram at emilyjane.clark, or on Facebook at Sleepers for the Week. To make sure you don't miss an episode of this podcast, follow along on all socials. You can get the episodes a week early and ad-free on Patreon. And for more bookish chat, check out my other podcast, The Chosen Ones and Other Tropes. Thanks again to Emily, and thanks to everyone listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.